Man's happiness does not consist in wealth or honor, nor in fame or power, but in the perfection of the soul, through virtue and the contemplation of truth. Faith does not destroy reason, but perfects it, allowing the human intellect to rise beyond what it can grasp by its own power. The ultimate end of human life is not pleasure or comfort, but the attainment of truth and the union of the soul with the highest good. To love is not merely to feel affection, but to will the good of another, even at the cost of one's own comfort. The human intellect is ordered toward truth, just as the will is ordered toward the good, and in this harmony lies the dignity of man. Evil has no substance of its own. It is only the absence or privation of the good that ought to be present. Law is a rule and measure of acts, whereby man is induced to act or is restrained from acting, always ordered toward the common good. Grace does not abolish human nature, but brings it to fulfillment, elevating what is natural toward what is divine. True wisdom consists not merely in knowing many things, but in ordering all knowledge toward its proper end. The perfection of a human being lies not in what he possesses, but in what he becomes through virtuous action. Nothing can be loved unless it is first known, and thus knowledge is the beginning of all love. Happiness is the reward of virtue, not because virtue is useful, but because it perfects the soul. The greatest kindness one can show another is to lead him toward truth, even when such guidance is difficult. Human freedom is not the ability to do whatever one desires, but the power to choose the good through reason. The more a man is governed by reason, the more he is truly free. Man is ordered by his very nature toward happiness, and every action he performs is ultimately directed toward that end. Charity is the form of all virtues, for it directs every good action toward love of God and neighbor. The intellect is perfected by truth, and the will is perfected by love, and together they complete the human person. Prayer is the raising of the mind and heart toward God, not to change Him, but to transform ourselves. Patience is not passive endurance, but the strength of soul that allows one to bear suffering without surrendering virtue. True humility does not consist in denying one's gifts, but in recognizing their source. The study of philosophy is not undertaken to discover what men have thought, but to understand the truth of things. Man cannot live without joy, for joy arises from the possession of the good that the soul seeks. Hope is born from faith and directs the soul toward a future good that is difficult but possible to attain. The highest act of the intellect is contemplation, wherein the soul rests in the vision of truth. Virtue is a stable disposition that inclines the soul toward good actions in accordance with reason. The purpose of moral life is not merely to avoid evil, but to become good. The will follows the judgment of reason, and thus moral responsibility rests upon knowledge. Every agent acts for an end, and without an end, no action would be intelligible. The greatest joy of man is found in the contemplation of divine truth, which surpasses all earthly pleasure. Teaching is an act of mercy, for it shares the light of truth with those who seek understanding. Man's ultimate fulfillment cannot be found in created things, but only in the uncreated good. The soul is known by its actions, just as a tree is known by its fruit. Faith concerns things unseen, yet it is not blind, for it rests upon divine truth. Reason is the light of the human mind, guiding man toward truth and goodness. A small error in principle can lead to great errors in conclusion. Justice without mercy becomes cruelty, while mercy without justice dissolves order. True friendship consists in mutual love grounded in virtue. The perfection of moral virtue does not eliminate the passions, but orders them according to reason. The highest good of man is not action, but contemplation of truth. Man becomes good by performing good acts, just as he becomes just by acting justly. The intellect seeks what is true, and the will seeks what is good, and both rest only when their object is attained. The purpose of education is not only to instruct the mind, but to form the character. The more one loves God, the more one desires to love Him. Human dignity arises from man's capacity to know and love the good. Evil cannot overcome good unless the will consents to it. Every truth, by whomsoever spoken, comes from God. Virtue implies order, harmony, and right proportion in human action. The greatest perfection of man in this life consists in the love of truth. Man's freedom finds its fulfillment not in license, but in obedience to reason. The ultimate measure of human actions is the good they produce in the soul. No created good can fully satisfy the human heart. The reward of virtue is not external praise, but the peace of a well-ordered soul. Wisdom judges all things by their highest cause. The soul naturally desires to know the cause of things. To love God is greater than merely to know Him, for love unites the soul to its end. Man is most like God when he understands and loves. The perfection of charity consists in loving others for God's sake. True peace is the tranquility of order within the soul. Man reaches his highest happiness when his intellect rests in truth and his will rests in the good.